Hello everyone, my name is Valor, and in this video we're going to be talking about two of Shonen's most powerful characters, Gojo Satoru and Goku, and more specifically, can Gojo actually beat Goku? So a big question within Jujutsu Kaisen's scaling recently has been, can Gojo take down Goku, similar to how can Gojo take down Kakashi? And I think I'm here to at least give some kind of clarity on that topic. So starting with Gojo, as for Gojo's attack potency, he really comes down to a kind of divide. You can either say that, oh, he's just like island level, or you could go all the way, balls to the walls and say, oh, off the Black Flash scaling, he reaches galaxy levels of power, because the Black Flash is a to the power of 2.5 times increase to someone's attack potency, that how hard they punch essentially. And Yuji is able to do these Black Flashes and hurt Hanami. Hanami himself being around like city level in terms of power, and Yuji was comparable to him before the Black Flash. He uses it. If you think they keep that Black Flash amp, they continuously stack upon each other, and Gojo's obviously stronger than Yuji, so he gets a really big really quickly, and his AP becomes very big. Or you could say that how hard he punches doesn't necessarily matter because of his hacks, and that's kind of to do with his cursed energy. There are a variety of things that can imply that cursed energy is actually metaphysical and conceptual, right? So what I mean by conceptual is that if, say, Gojo was to punch you, he'd be punching the idea of you or something on the same level as that. And naturally, like your physical body, your soul probably can't resist that, having just the idea of you be punched. So that's very interpretation based though, because cursed energy is kind of weird like that. It's said to be born from emotions and from hatred, humiliation, regret, and that feeling. Images of fear, just like thoughts of fear, are what give birth to cursed energy and curses. So it's very kind of on the fence, and you can easily fall into either camp, because if you do think that, yeah, it's being literally born from these metaphysical things, these conceptual things, then how hard Gojo can punch doesn't matter, because unless you can resist that, you're just going to die from one punch anyway. If you don't think that, then Gojo becomes significantly less impressive, and he isn't too good in terms of actual like attack potency feats. Purple is a conceptual attack. It's literally an imaginary attack being thrown at you, and we literally see it like erase things along its path. So that's definitely a conceptual attack. But if you think Gojo's regular punches are the same due to his cursed energy, that's a bit questionable. Now I'll leave that up to you. As for Gojo's other abilities, like his speed, his best, well, I say his best, but his lowest end feats are bare minimum around the 4,000 times hypersonic. He scales off of Hikari being able to dodge Kachimo's lightning at point blank, which was calculated to be around 4,000 times the speed of sound. So Gojo is not particularly fast. Goku is definitely faster in that aspect. The question becomes then, do you think the prison realm actually gives Gojo infinite speed or inaccessible speed? The prison realm itself, Gojo comments that not only does time doesn't move there, it's kind of stagnant, and yet he moves around in there. So you can interpret him as, off of that, having inaccessible speed. But if you don't take that to be hyperliterally, or you think it's kind of too vague, there is a weekly Shonen Jump that gives an explanation of the prison realm, and it states it is beyond the laws of time. So if you use that in conjunction with that statement, it kind of becomes consistent that Gojo is actually inaccessible speed. However, you can also interpret that entire scene to Gojo being unaffected by that kind of stagnation due to his infinity and it being time-space manipulation, which we'll get into now. Gojo has the infinity, which is essentially a bubble around him that anything approaches him rapidly slows down, and there is just always an infinite distance between you and him. There are multiple special grade mathematicians from the lectures that the author had to get on to actually explain the ability, and they kind of give the idea that infinity is Gojo may either be just manipulating the concept of distance, or that he's continuously increasing the distance between you and him, continuously dividing it, and you never reach him, essentially, because there is always more distance for you to cover. Like the Zeno paradox, no matter how much you cover, you would theoretically never reach the turtle, and infinity is just that actualized. If it wasn't a terrible paradox, you can actually reach the turtle, but for Gojo's case, the ability works as though you would never be able to reach him. Some would say that, oh, if you were light speed, you would be able to blitz past Gojo because he can't react to it. But the infinity is shown to be in when he's like 16, which is really like early in his life on using infinity. It's already shown to be like this passive thing that's automatically like detecting what's a threat to him, which kind of, implies he has a reaction speed. But then we see that even when Gojo's not really aware of things, it still blocks it. So it's kind of just like a bubble around him that he can like turn off and on. And we know it kind of like just eliminates his mass, because he's able to fly using it, etc, etc. Blue is how he flies with it. And Blue itself is just kind of, the way I describe it is, imagine Gojo summoning a mini black hole wherever he points, essentially, or wherever he wants. Everything gets sucked into the point because it's the a power of attraction. Everything just gets pulled into that specific part. Things twist, things get ripped inside. Very similar to a black hole. And red is just the opposite of that, the force of repel, or push. It just throws you backwards. Gojo also can heal with his reverse curse technique, and he has essentially endless stamina due to his 6 eyes, which basically require him to use an infinitesimally close to 0 amount of cursed energy to do anything. So he essentially has endless stamina, and his brain is always fresh. All of this culminates then in his domain expansion, which stuffs your brain full of infinite sets of infinite information. So in the word apple, you would perceive infinite A's, and then infinite P's, and then infinite P's again, then infinite L's, and then infinite E's. Infinitely. And then the next word would appear in your brain, but the information is never complete. So even if you could perceive it at the same time it's coming into your brain, it would be incomplete, and you wouldn't know how to process the information. So you would be stuck there, and the way Gojo describes it, or the way the author describes it, is that you can feel everything, but you can't do anything. So Gojo is pretty haxed. So the question is then, can Goku get past infinity? Well, the way you would have to get past infinity is kind of having some kind of spatial distortion, and I'm specifically using Z Goku because I really don't know that much about Super. I'm not a fan of Super. I really didn't like the anime, so I'm only using Z Goku. And for Z Goku, he doesn't really have anything like that can distort space that way and maybe get past the infinity, unless you think that Gojo is just really slow, and and you also believe that he would blitz infinity, which you can argue. I'm not saying that's wrong, I'm just saying that's an interpretation of it. So if you think Gojo is like inaccessible speed, and you do think he's like beyond time with his speed, he should just blitz Goku, just there and then. Erase him from existence, open domain expansion, mind hacks him, kill his brain, right? On some Tsukuyomi stuff. If you don't think that Gojo is that speed, or you think Goku is equal to him in speed, then it becomes a lot different. If they're equal in speed, obviously Gojo would be able to react to him, and if you think he needs to react to use infinity, he would still block everything Goku does. If you think that, oh, maybe Goku can, just outskill him, he'd never even be able to touch his fists, because of Infinity. So you really have to find a way for Goku to get past Infinity for him to actually be able to, like, you know, beat Gojo. At least Z Goku. I'm obviously, like I said, I'm not sure about Super Goku. He probably beats Gojo just through outscaling. Goku doesn't really have the hacks to actually beat Gojo in Z. As for Gojo himself, obviously if you interpret Infinity to be much slower, like not inaccessible speed, if you think it's not passive, he has to react to use it, then Goku would just blitz him and probably one-shot him too. But if you think that it's passive and Goku doesn't need to do that, Gojo doesn't need to do that, then I don't see a way for Goku to actually get past Infinity, no matter how hard he can punch, because Infinity isn't like a shield. It doesn't have a kind of durability. It's literally just space pushing you back. Space and time, mind you, pushing you away from Gojo. So your fist just never connects with him. So it doesn't really matter how fast and how hard you punch the Infinity, because the fist would just keep traveling distance and it would never reach Gojo. Kind of like, what's the point of having the most powerful gun in the world if it has no bullets? You know what I mean? There's no real point to having that kind of level of strength if it can never hurt Gojo. And that's kind of the point I'm making, is if you interpret Gojo to be, you know, conceptual, unless you think Goku has the same kind of level of power, you probably can't beat him. If you think Gojo's Infinity is passive, they either stalemate because Goku can just never beat him and he'd eventually run out of stamina and die, or they're just stamina each other endlessly, they draw, or Gojo just wins, you know. And if you think that Gojo's inaccessible speed, obviously he'd probably blitz Goku, unless you think Goku himself has inaccessible speed, like say from the Kakarot games, where he fights at instant transmission, and if you think instant transmission is 0, he'd be fighting at 0 speed. But then you can obviously interpret the Prism Realm as being immeasurable, but that's kind of like a reach. So there's a lot to this topic, and it's definitely interpretation based. There's no real correct answer. It entirely comes down to how you interpret certain statements for Gojo. I spoke a little bit less on Goku's abilities because they're not particularly relevant. Either Goku wins through his stats alone, which should be higher than Gojo's, or he doesn't, and he never hurts. He never even touches Gojo. So let me know what you think in the comments below. This was Z Goku, not Super Goku. Don't bring up MUI. Like I said, I haven't really paid attention to the Super anime because I don't like it. I think it's bad. So again, it was Z Goku. But let me know what you think in the comments below. If you'd like the video, like it, and hit the subscribe button because it really helps me out. Thank you for watching. My name's been Valor, and have a wonderful day.